morning, Charles. Lovely to see you, as always. What's the significance of the King becoming the first British royal to address the Senate in both languages? He's very clever when it comes to languages, isn't he, King Charles?
Yes, he is, and good morning to both of you. Yes, he is, and it's obviously very interesting that he's going to speak to the Senate and speak in both languages. But these visits are, as you well know, Andrew, are filled with diplomacy, and it's all about strengthening ties between the two countries. France, of course, is one of our oldest enemies and is now one of our closest friends, although we do seem to have a few problems along the way. And not least of all, Brexit has strained relationships. So it's all designed to do that. But, the fact that the King and Queen are there, they will not be involved in discussing anything to do with Brexit or illegal immigrants coming across. This is purely a cosmetic visit that hopefully will lead to some better trade relationships between the two countries.
They're off to have dinner at the Palace of Versailles, Charles, which is very significant to those of us who know a little bit about history, because, of course, that's where the last where the revolution descended, and that was the end of the French monarchy, courtesy of Madame Guillotine.
Yeah, well, let's hope there's no storming of any palace in this case. And, of course, let's also not forget that this visit was put off. It was due in March. It was supposed to be happening then, and was cancelled because of riots in the French streets. They were supposed to get the honour of the first visit of the new King and Queen, which went to Germany.
Do you think there's any irritation at all, Charles, in court circles about the fact Keir Starmer was there the day before? Because I would have imagined that the King would have rather have the build-up being all about him and Queen Camilla.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, irritation perhaps a bit strong, but it's you're right. The palace would always want to have the build-up based on their people rather than a political build-up. And from what I can gather, Starmer's met Macron and is supposed to be trying to renegotiate Brexit in some form or another. Whether that comes to pass, we'll have to wait and see. But I think this will go ahead, hopefully without a hitch.
There's some rather entertaining details, Charles, about King Charles's culinary demands while he's in France. Apparently he's ruled out asparagus because it's not in season, and he's banned the French from cooking him foie gras because of the animal cruelty. It seems quite a bold move. Yeah. He doesn't mind offending potentially his host by dismissing a French delicacy.
Well, no, I mean, this is quite common, Beverly. The late Queen had exactly the same scenario. I mean, the principals are always asked what type of food are they happy with, what types of food are they not. I mean, the late Queen never ate spaghetti, for obvious reasons, certainly never in public, for obvious reasons. So, yes, they are asked about the menu, and their tastes are taken into consideration. We do exactly the same if Macron was to come to the UK or Joe Biden was to come to the UK. It's exactly the same scenario.
Will there be any nervousness? Of course, they are Charles and Camilla. It's not quite the same glamour and pulling power as the Queen. Will they be a little nervous to see how many people, Charles, will actually turn out to see the King and Queen on only what is their second state visit?
I think that's a very valid point, Andrew. They will be buoyed by the fact that when they went to Germany, when the French visit was cancelled, they went to Germany, which was the second part. They did get a good reception. But I think you're absolutely right. They are a new monarch and his consort, so they will be hoping that the people will be turning out on the streets for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons. And that will be watched very carefully.
And it's just over a year now, because just the other day it was the first anniversary of the Queen's funeral. How would you mark his first year as monarch, Charles, bearing in mind you have the longest apprenticeship of any Prince of Wales in history?
Andrew, he has always had and was always going to have a hard act to follow. There's no question about that. But he hasn't done badly in that year. I mean, he's completed a few things that he wanted to do, the slimming down of the royal family, mainly thanks to the controversies with Harry and Meghan and Prince Andrew. But he's cut away an awful lot of spending on that point. I just wish he wouldn't go off and ask 4 ministers to fly up to Scotland just so that he can go to a party at night. I don't think that's the wisest thing to do. But on the whole, I would say 8 out of 10 so far.
You know who seems to be acing it at the moment, Charles, is, of course, Kate. There are pictures of her in the paper every day, looking like she's just wows everybody wherever she goes. She's an amazing emblem, isn't she, for the royal family?
Oh, it's staggering. I mean, she's exactly like Diana. I mean, you could put sackcloth and ashes on Diana, and the same with Catherine, and she'd look fantastic. Those pictures of her with the life vests at the event she was at the RAF the other day were just staggering. The facial expressions on that girl were just fantastic. And I have to say, her husband isn't doing too badly either. I mean, he is, he's doing very, very well as the new Prince of Wales.
Amanda Patel writes in the Daily Mail today, Charles, you may have seen it, how William is turning into a bit of a hunky pin-up all over again.
Oh, isn't it amazing? He was always a hunky pin-up right at the start, and then he sort of fell by the wayside into becoming a dowdy dad and everything else, and now he's becoming a hunky pin-up again. It's unfortunate things about blokes, as you well know, Andrew. We can never always be hunky pin-ups. Sometimes we're just going to be normal dowdy blokes.
All right.
I hope you're not addressing those remarks to me. I think you probably are.
Oh, not at all, Andrew. Good idea.
What a lovely to talk to you. That's Charles Rae, of course, was the great royal editor of The Sun. Great for talking to us.